listen to reason? Will you open your eyes?
Well, you asked me what I consider not harming people. I'm trying to give you an example.
I understand that, but you know, you're doing that to avoid this issue of truth.
Well, can I just say that when somebody asserts that a God exists, they're actually supporting the foundation of something that is a religion that bombs buildings? I mean, when a person says that a God exists to somebody that would bomb a building for their God, you are validating their foundational problematic belief, which is that this God even exists.
I don't necessarily. I think that's kind of a slippery slope. I mean, I see where you're going with that, but any foundation could be, especially when it's a broad foundation, could be invoked by somebody who wants to do harm. Right,
but what I'm saying is that, you know, it is their willingness to accept the irrational belief that a God exists that leads to that slippery slope. Once you have that belief and you're willing to accept things for bad reasons or for no reason whatsoever, then what stops you from accepting that God wants you to do something, and that something may be something that appears harmful, but really the God knows best, and you have to trust.
I'll actually agree with him there that that's a potential slippery slope fallacy, because there may be other mitigating factors that would stop him.
But I'm not saying that he would do it. I'm just saying that the person who would do it sees him as validating their underlying belief in God.
It's the one thing we've said many times before, is that liberal and moderate Christians or theologians or theists, whatever, serve as validators for the more fundamentalist ones. And by the way, it's not that you just believe a God exists. You're not a deist. You have specific concepts of God that you've already presented, which is that you're going to meet him after you die.
Well, just claiming that it's not falsifiable is a claim of knowledge about that God.
Yeah. So I'm not exactly sure. It seems to me that you've begun with some sort of traditional religious belief of a God, and then tried to extract all of the things that you weren't happy with, and keep the rest because they make you happy and they haven't been disproven and you don't think it hurts anybody. Which to me means that you actually do not care whether it's true, despite your claim that you do.
Yeah, I can only tell you what I care about, and if it seems like I don't care about truth to you, I mean, that's your opinion. I do care about truth.
Yeah, it is my opinion, but when I say, do you care about truth, and you say, yes, but I believe this thing irrespective of whether it's true or not, I'd say that there's an obvious conflict there.
I didn't say irrespective of if it's true or not. I said the truth cannot be ascertained right now.
Well,
that's the same thing.
Irrespective of whether it's true or not is equivalent to cannot be attained.
In other words, you can't know if it's true or not, but you're willing to believe it because it makes you happy. So
that's not somebody who
you're willing to sacrifice whether your beliefs, whether or not the belief is true, takes a back seat to whether or not it makes you happy.
Which brings up
but if it was proven to be false, I wouldn't believe it though.
Well, that's a shifting of the burden of proof.
But my question is, why shouldn't I do that?
Because shifting the burden of proof is irrational.
Well, no, the reason, what Matt was saying was, the reason he thinks you shouldn't do it is because he thinks you should care about whether or not your beliefs are more likely to be true. But you're saying that only matters to you in cases where the belief doesn't make you happy. If the belief makes you happy and isn't, in your opinion, harmful to others, then if it's untrue, you're okay believing it. You don't care as long as it can't be proven. So,
well, when I look at unfalsifiable, I look at that truth value as being almost like moot. Like,
yeah, so why would you assign it a positive truth value if you know that value is moot, and you're saying because it makes me happy and I don't see it as all that harmful? And so what you're then saying is, I'm okay believing things that have no validity in the realm of truth value.
Yeah.
And I'll accept them as true, and I don't care if it's true or not. It just makes me feel good. It doesn't hurt anybody. And Matt's been saying you don't seem to care whether or not it's true. And
it's a level of cognitive dissonance where you are simultaneously holding the position, this claim has no truth value. I believe this claim is true. That is a conflict. And if you think that that doesn't do harm to your thought processes and your decision-making processes, you are beyond, I mean, you have managed to delude yourself, because you're desperately trying to cling to two propositions that are mutually exclusive. You have stated them both here.
Well, let me clarify myself. It has a truth value. I don't think you can ascertain it. My belief is in a God that I will meet after I die. I can't ascertain what will happen after I die. The truth value is there. I can't get to it until after I die.
How do you know? How do you know that the truth value is unobtainable?
Based on my belief of a God that I will meet after this life, logic states I have to be after this life to know if that God exists. You ask me what God do I believe, that is the God that I believe.
So the only characteristic of your God is some entity that you meet after you're dead.
Exactly.
Okay, that is it. That's it. That's the only characteristic.
Yes.
Okay, I can falsify that God.
Go ahead.
What makes you think that you're going to exist after you're dead when every piece of evidence and everything that we use to identify what a person is ceases at the moment they're dead?
Well, I don't think we know that. We can see somebody
after
they're dead. We don't know.
What reason do you have? What is it about you that you think will persist after your death, and why do you think that that's likely?
Why do I think it's likely that I believe that I will persist after I'm dead?
I know you believe that.
How?
I'm saying why. What is the mechanism? Because here's the thing. We have done tons of research, and while we don't completely understand the brain, we do know that the brain is the seat of who we are. It's where our likes, our preferences, our passions, our thoughts, our memories, and everything else reside. We have seen people who, through brain trauma, have had their memories reset, their personalities shifted, split brain patients, where they develop two completely separate personalities, in some cases where one is a theist and the other one is an atheist. This demonstrates to an almost certainty that the brain is malleable, and it's not simply a conduit for a soul. It is, the mind is an emergent property of the brain. We know that brains stop functioning at death, and therefore, since I could be born and have a brain accident today that completely wipes my personality such that I'm now, for all intents and purposes, a different individual with different preferences and a different personality, and then I die, that death is indistinguishable from the accident that wiped me the first time. So did I just have multiple souls that went on to meet this God of yours? Or, I mean, what is the justification for thinking that anything that makes you exists after you're dead?
Well, at that point, you would have multiple personalities. That's who you are.
I don't have multiple personalities. One personality is gone at that moment.
Well, that personality is gone. Whatever happens to your brain is just like anything that happens to any other part of your body.
I agree.
It affects your body, but
I agree.
What's
your justification for thinking it affects more than that?
My justification is the same with my other justification. I believe it because I hope for it to be true, and I know I can't prove it. I know it can't be proven until after death, when it can be examined. If I was to die and then all of a sudden I entered into this afterlife, I can examine that afterlife. But until I die, I can't. So to me, it's unfalsifiable. So that's the primary reason why I believe it.
But you don't really know of any mechanism that would explain how a person could persist after death.
No, I don't know. No, I don't claim knowledge of anything. It's simply belief.
Okay.
Yeah. So you don't care about truth. You believe whatever's comfortable to you.
Well, I wouldn't say whatever because this is not. I don't do it. I wouldn't say okay.
If it hasn't been disproved to you, you'll believe it as long as it's comfortable. That is not someone who cares about truth. And it's thoughts like that, this idea of a persistent soul, that have done almost immeasurable harm against dealing with people who have brain disorders, brain damage, all the research about defining who we are and understanding what our brains do and how it works. That stuff is completely hindered by this absolutely unjustified, nonsensical notion that you're going to continue on after you're dead. That's wishful thinking. It has nothing to do with truth.
My question again is, why shouldn't one thing, and you say it's because it's irrational. Well, to me, it's going to go in a circle. Why shouldn't one believe that? When it's unfalsifiable, obviously, this is all I'm talking about. Why shouldn't one believe what one hopes to be true? What good reason do I have not to?
Because once you believe that something is true, boy, I thought I explained this. Once you believe that something is true, it inhibits your ability, it stops you from looking for an actual answer. Now, you're comfortable doing that because you've already decided, without any supporting evidence, that these are questions that simply can't be proven, which actually demonstrates the problem. You've come up with an issue and said, oh, we can't ever prove this one way or the other, so I'm going to believe whatever's comfortable for me, which stops you from continuing to investigate to find out whether or not we actually could know one way or the other.
I don't
and
agree
you've
with that.
defined it in...
I don't think it stops me from searching. I don't agree with that premise. Why would it stop me
Why
from
would you
searching?
continue to search for the right answer once you think you have the right answer? How many examples of cognitive dissonance are you going to give in one call? I believe I have the truth, but I'm going to keep looking for the real truth.
So there's never a scenario where scientists think they have the right answer, but keep on searching to make sure that that's never...
Scientists don't assert
Or
truth.
anybody for that matter. There's no scenario where somebody would think they have the truth, but keep searching.
Not when you've already determined that you think it's not that you think it's unfalsifiable. So, in other words, you can't to think that something will never be known. You almost have to assert that you can know everything, because you'd have to say that there is no piece of knowledge that we could come across that would allow us to know this. And I don't know how you would know that. That to me is confusing.
I believe it's unfalsifiable, but tomorrow I might not. If I keep searching, maybe I can search and maybe it won't be unfalsifiable.
I
That's
highly
why I'm
recommend
not
it.
searching. You said, why do I believe it? Because right now I believe it's unfalsifiable. But, I'm not going to stop searching because who knows what the future may bring.
Why?
Yeah, I guess with me, if something has a null truth value, I would just simply call that an unknown. I wouldn't call it true.
Yeah. Well, this has the potential of going around in a circle. I just kind of wanted to get your input. Now, I see where you're coming from with potential of not searching if you think it's null. I could see how one could think that. But
the big issue is what Tracie just said. If something's unknown, it's unknown, and it's dishonest to apply a truth value to it. Whether you think it's falsifiable or not, it's dishonest to say, I believe X is true, and to simultaneously acknowledge that it's an unknown. You're being dishonest to yourself, which you're entitled to do. My point is that I don't see I don't see that as a life that is concerned with truth if you're lying to yourself in the process.
Well, I'll let you guys get to more calls. I'll listen to this conversation again and see if I can find any contradictions because
Sure.
I am concerned with truth. So.
Thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate the call.
Thank you.